when you need to talk to a private eye.
You want to be talking to Jim Rockford.
That's right. He's the one to talk to.
They don't know who you're talking to.
Rockford.
He's got everyone talking.
What kind of lowlife is he?
Takes out half-page ads in a phone book.
I seem to recall a phrase, moderately intelligent private detective.
You have a smart mouth.
You're right, I do. But I'm working on changing that.
Jim Rockford is all the talk on MeTV.
He's something else, all right.
Weekdays at 11:10 Central on MeTV.
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this special edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. Today, again, we're talking my favorite subject. It's trash. We have Steve Brandau in the house. He's a newly elected city council member, District 2. We're glad to have him along. Hey, we're going to talk trash. We'll talk other city politics. We're back with our guest in just a moment. And welcome back to the program here on Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. And aren't you glad that June 4th is fast approaching and it will be over with soon? Talking about the trash issue in Measure G. And of course, a yes vote on Measure G means that Mid-Valley Disposal is going to take over picking up your trash. It's a private company, but a no vote means that it will remain as is, and the city of Fresno will continue to pick up your trash as usual. It's a special election. Let's go to the videotape. June the 4th, you go to the polls and vote for this one. Hey, look at that. They're picking up the trash. That's the city workers right now. But as I said, on June the 4th, it's an election that's going to cost the city of Fresno anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million. That's according to Fresno County Registrar Brandy Orth. Talked to her the other day. This is an issue that has gone back and forth. The mayor and many members of the city council believe that if you privatize with Mid-Valley Disposal, that it will save the city about $2.5 million. They need to close that budget gap of about $5 to $6 million, whatever it might be. You know, those figures are flexible. We all know that. But the union says, hey, you know what? It's going to cost our workers their jobs. Your rates are going to go up. So there's a big battle. The ads are out right now for the yes side and for the no side. And between now and June the 4th, it is going to be a battle royal between the unions and City Hall as to whether or not you, the city voter, should privatize the garbage pickup or not. Right now, live in our studio is Steve Brandau. He represents District Number 2 for the Fresno City Council. It is his first appearance here on Connect with Me since he has been elected to the council. He was elected, of course, last November in that election, the big election that took place, and then he took office in January. And I got to tell you right now, he's a stand-up guy, and I'm not saying that to kiss up to him because he's here. I would say this behind his back. He is a stand-up guy because, you know what? He promised us before the election that if he was elected, he would come back. He is back. He's going to talk trash, but he has a lot of other things to talk about citywide, things that are going on that are important in your lives. We're back with our special coverage here on Connect with Me in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Back here with our program, and I'm talking about my favorite subject. Of course, we've talked about this, and I say that facetiously because we've talked about it so many times, getting tired of hearing about this trash issue. It's Measure G, Measure G, Measure G. Are you going to vote yes? Are you going to vote no? I don't know. Steve Brandau is here. Good to see you, Steve.
Good to be back, John.
Yeah, it's good to have you. My pleasure. You're a stand-up guy, I got to tell you.
Hey, thanks.
I like you a lot.
I told you I'd come back. And
I
here
know. I know. How's the job going? Tell us.
You just encapsulated it. It's Measure G, Measure G. I'll be so glad when this is over, John, because if you think you talk about it a lot, I just talk about it almost every day. Seems like constantly. Everybody wants to know different aspects, and I guess we have one more month.
Yeah,
so
we
about
do.
one more month.
June the 4th is
the
the special election. I mean, do you think this thing should have gone to the people anyway? Because on one side, the union members are saying, okay, look, the voters have a right to decide this issue, but on the other side, I could see the other side saying, look, this thing is going to costly. It's $600,000 to $1 million for this thing.
I think probably once they got their signatures, they did a signature drive. Once they got those signatures, I came in. That's where I actually first started. I didn't get to take any of the previous votes. That was already done. But so I felt for myself personally, not having done all the original votes that took place, I thought, well, they've got their signatures. At this point, we should take it out to the public. And I know it costs money, and trust me, I'm an ultimate conservative, and I've got friends that are upset because I voted to say we're going to have to spend the money, but let's take it to the public. It's been so divisive. We might as well let the public decide. And so I voted to take it to the vote, and I got to live with the fact that that's pretty costly. But I think at this point that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah. Now, just for the record, and just look into the camera and tell our viewers where you stand on Measure G. What's your stance on it? Are you in favor or
so
against?
most of your viewers, if they've heard me, I've been on your show a couple times, they know that I'm a privatization guy. So I'm a limited government guy, just philosophically. So this for me is kind of a natural fit. Now, I wish there were things a little bit different about the model and so forth that they chose, that was voted on, like I said before I got there. But at the end of the day, it moves things out of the realm of government into the hands of the private industry, and so I'm going to be supportive. So I'm yes on G.
Yes on G. Okay. Now let me ask you a question, and just playing a little devil's advocate here, because we don't have the other side, and the other side has been on. We've had union members on here. There's no question about it. We've had Dee Barnes on, very nice lady. We've had Marina Magdaleno on. She represents the union as well. Another very nice person. But they're claiming, okay, the rates are going to go down, 16, 17% after the first couple of years, but then they're going to go back up anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6%. On top of that, some people may lose their jobs after that 2-year window is over.
Yeah, let me tackle about the rates first.
Okay,
there's
sure.
a lot of kind of misinformation out there. And, John, last year I was campaigning and I was on your show a couple times, but I always took off Thursdays because that's when they would have the big debates at City Hall. And so I'd go sit in, a lot of times taking a break from walking, and I'd sit in and listen. And I think everybody got the same information, so it's a little worrisome to me that the misinformation is still out there. So immediately, if it's a yes vote on G, everybody's rates will go down over 17%. It's somewhere around 17.5%. Everybody throughout the city, your rates is going to go down. It's going to take 9 years for the rates to come back to where they are right now. So that's a progression. So you will see rate increases.
How will that happen? I don't understand.
It's in the contract. It's really interesting. It's all built into the contract. There's not a lot of flexibility for Mid-Valley.
You mean where we are now as far as the rates are concerned, if it passes, it'll take us 9 years just to reach our level that we're at now.
Exactly.
So if we're paying $25 a month now, it's going to lower, but just to get back up to 25, it'll be another 9 years.
Yeah.
That's in the contract.
That's all in the contract.
Okay.
So when the contract was signed, that was part of the agreement. Now, inside of that, John, there's little mechanisms like I think at year number 2, they can raise 3%, and then year number 5, they can raise 2%. I don't have all that memorized, but all that's part of the contract. It's not this thing like Mid-Valley can just come in and say, oh, we need to raise this 21% or something like that, or even 8%. It's all.
In other words, they can't do that.
No, they can't do it.
Contractually, they can't do that.
Exactly. Exactly. So 9 years to come back to where we're at now.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, the employees, are you concerned that maybe after a couple of years they might lose their job, or after even a year? Because, it's a private company. You own your own private company. The economy goes up, the economy goes down. You worried about some of those employees?
I think it's a big deal. So I worry about employees. We need every job in this valley. I mean, every job is valuable. There is a little track record. As you know, we privatized the commercial solid waste just 2 years ago. And that was another group of employees that went to private companies. And my understanding, and I've asked a lot of questions, I've gone out to the locations and talked with employees. I think the only ones that are not still working there are ones that moved on for their own personal reasons. They took a job somewhere else. But other than that, I believe Mid-Valley, when they say we want these employees, we need them, they're going to take 100% of them. Now, if somebody wants to retire, that's not their fault. But other than that, I think they're going to bring everybody over, and I believe they got half the contract when it was commercial. They honored those employees in that contract. I believe they'll do the same here.
Let me ask you a question, because I kind of sided with Jim Patterson years ago when they put the stadium up. And I'm not anti-sports and I'm not anti-business or anything else, but he said that thing is going to be a white elephant if it goes up. Okay, I don't know how many times, I don't have it memorized, how many times the Grizzlies have renegotiated their contract. First they were going to pay the city $1 million a year or $1.5 million a year, and then some other fees or whatever the case might be. And how many times have they renegotiated that contract because they can't meet the financial obligation each year? Are you worried that maybe the same thing will happen with Mid-Valley Disposal?
Yeah, I really am not. And there's a couple reasons, and I could be wrong, but here's the way I view it. For starters, there's only so many people that were capable of doing anything with that baseball stadium. But we've got other capable companies in our area who could handle this work. So if Mid-Valley comes up and says, hey, it's not working out for us, we need to boost these rates and do something outside of the contract, I believe that what would really happen is the contract would be broken, we'd go right out to bid. We've got 4 or 5 other companies in town, John, that could snap that work up and take over. Yeah. So because of that, I don't think Mid-Valley would even try to do that. But there's a mechanism.
If they know what's good for them.
Yeah,
right?
if they know what's good. I mean, there's other companies that are hungry that made bids. Maybe their bid was a little bit higher or something at the time. So we just go back out to those companies and say, would you honor this? And I think that would keep Mid-Valley in check.
Yeah, so if they know that they've got footsteps behind them, other companies willing to take over, that's incentive enough to keep it the way it is.
Right, whereas we didn't have that with the baseball stadium. You build a baseball stadium, that's what it is, and there's not that many people around that can run that.
No, I mean, you got one tenant, that's it, basically. I mean, you have a few other events that take place there, but I love the Grizzlies, I love the Giants, love going out there and watching baseball. It's my favorite sport, but it's sad to see that stadium 90% empty on any given night to watch a great baseball team, the Grizzlies, and these players will be playing in the major league someday. Yeah, that's what gets me.
It gets packed out when they play soccer down there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I know. We're going to continue with Steve Brandau, council member, District number 2, representing, of course, us here in the city of Fresno. We're glad to have him in the house. We'll talk a little bit more about trash and then move on to other subjects. Back with our program in a moment.
I'm Lou Grant. Mary asked me to do a promo for Me TV.
You want to see me, Lou?
Not now, Ted. Watch me on...
Danish donut?
I said not now, Ted. Watch me on Me TV.
You don't like me? I'll fire you.
Watch Mary Tyler Moore. I'll fire you.
Me TV Fresno, now on Comcast Channel 187.
Meow.
And we're back talking about Measure G. Of course, it's fastly approaching that June 4th deadline. That's when the election is. I'm a little concerned about turnout, too, at the polls on June the 4th, because that's kind of an unusual time to have an election. You know what I mean, Steve?
Yeah, it's tough.
And so if you get a low turnout, who does that favor? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. I'm expecting a low turnout. I've heard people that are saying it's going to be 30% turnout. I don't see that. My guess is in the teens.
Yeah, it could be. And then they got this May 21st election for the Senate seat number 16. I mean, who's going to turn out for that? Maybe we might get single digits for that one.
Back-to-back special elections. I know it's tough, and the citizens hear all this. Plus, we're right in the beginning of spring, and people are starting to plan vacations. I'm with you. I think low turnout.
Yeah, they're going on vacation in June. Who's going to stick around and vote? Unless you want to vote absentee, I guess you could do that, but I don't know. Let's play one of the commercials anyway. It's from Mayor Ashley Swearingen. It's a yes vote on Measure G. Let's listen.
Measure G makes good sense. It immediately lowers everyone's garbage rates by nearly 18%. A local company, Mid-Valley Disposal, will collect our city's trash just like they're already doing for many communities, with the same level of service and at a much lower cost. Trash days stay the same. Even the same bins are used. Our families will save money and Fresno will move closer to a balanced budget. Please join me in supporting Measure G.
All right, Mayor Ashley Swearingen, of course, is supporting Measure G. There's no question about it. And when you see that ad, let's say that you're on the fence. Is that a believable ad in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know our mayor really believes in this project, and so she's committed, and I think that comes across when she talks. And
does she believe in Mid-Valley Disposal? Does she believe in that company, that it will do a good job?
Yeah, I'm sure she does. At one point, they were talking about doing more than one company, giving the work to more than one company. They came in with just an awesome bid. They packaged a special bonus,
right.
And she was pretty strong on moving forward with them. And so I think she believes in them. I think she believes this is really, one of the key answers to Fresno. And that's where I'm at. That's where I agree with her on this. So at the end of the day, John, after this is all said and done,
yeah.
And even if it's a yes or a no, to be honest with you, Fresno, we're in some difficult times.
I know.
So this could be one little component to help us. I have to deal with those decisions. Since the last time we talked, that's almost all I deal with is where are we going to get the money to do street lights? Where are we going to get the money for a couple more police officers? Where are we going to get the money? This last week, our fire department was complete. We had 6 fires at the same time, and our fire department was completely maxed. They had to call up reserves. And so where are we going to get the money? And so this does bring a little bit of relief to the city of Fresno at $2.5 million a year to our general fund, which is not, just a huge amount of money, but it's a good amount of money to get some things started.
Right. And this is the Friendly Confines, and of course we put out, and I'll put it out just right now over the air, we invite Mayor Ashley Swearingen to come on this program. Friendly Confines, do you think?
Friendly Confines, come on, Mayor.
Come on. Hey, we're glad to have you. We're not going to ambush you or anything like that. Right. It's just a friendly conversation about what's going on, and we'd like to have her on. She's a very, very nice person, from what I understand. Never really met the mayor, but love to have her on this program talking about that and other city projects. Just to be fair, though, I want to go Measure G again, and let's do the no side on the commercial.
Measure G is a risky deal. It makes radical changes to our cost-effective, award-winning trash and recycling service. Measure G sells off city trucks and equipment for pennies on the dollar and locks us into an 8-year contract. Lawsuits will add costly delays. The entire deal could be illegal. Democrats, Republicans, and independents know it's a bad deal. Vote no on this risky proposal. For information, go to FresnoMeasureG.com.
Okay, I got to ask you your reaction. What's in the ad specifically?
Yeah, I think it's funny. So maybe it's effective. I think it's probably well put together. I'm not an expert.
Are they getting these trash bins and some of the equipment, the garbage trucks, pennies on the dollar? I mean, I don't know.
I think that's probably a stretch, but I mean, it's all part of the package, right. And that's how this private company can take over and bring, reduce costs to the citizens, and so
right.
It's all part of the package.
Right, but I think, and I don't have all of this memorized, but I know just from reading articles in the Fresno Bee and various other places, I think they're purchasing the equipment from the city of Fresno, like the trucks for like $60,000. Originally, I think they cost $200,000, and some of the trash bins they're getting at a lesser rate too, but that's to try to keep the cost down, right?
Yeah, that's about to and make the deal and allow the deal to happen.
Right. Okay. So, other things to talk about. That whatever's going to happen on June 4th is going to happen.
That's a fact, and it's only 1 month away.
I know, and we cannot control it. So only the voters control it at this point. They can do whatever they want to do. But you are into fixing lights that have gone awry, have gone bad in the city of Fresno. I've seen you on the news. Actually, they put you up on that lift. I don't know how many feet up off the ground. What, 100 feet or more?
No, it's really only like 30.
Feet? Oh,
no,
30 feet. Okay.
It seems when you're up there, it seems like a lot. Yeah.
So what's your goal here?
Well, the result of that, John, was that all last year when I was campaigning, I was knocking on a lot of doors, and I would always ask people, what could the city of Fresno do better? I mean, if I'm going to become a city councilman, I need to know that kind of. So, over and over and over again, I would hear things like, well, it'd be helpful if you guys would replace that light or fix my sidewalk or something like that. And all these things fall in the parameter of stuff the city's supposed to be doing, but we're flat out broke. So, you know, after hearing it over and over again, I thought to myself, well, if I win, if I get elected, let's see if I can do something about that. And so once I was in office, got sworn in, just a matter of weeks, I went to Public Works Department and said, hey, here's what I'm interested in doing. I'm not afraid of going. I did some construction early in my life. I'm not afraid of going up and to those heights and changing light bulbs. I said, is there any way that I can do that as a city councilman? And it probably took them about 10 weeks to answer that question. You know, there's a lot of liability. Well, there's liability concerns. For starters, they said, Steve, we've never had a city councilman that wants to do anything close to that. And I said, well, let's see what can happen. So they had to answer some liability questions like, what happens if I fall out of that thing or something like that? Yeah. So that made a lot of people nervous. And then there's a good group of electricians that they needed to kind of know where am I coming from? Are we on the hit list? And so I just had to have a conversation with them and let them know, no, that's not the case. I just feel like we're in tough times and it's something I can do. I'm not afraid of doing it. And so here's the deal, John. It's really fascinating. I can change. So on every street light, there's a photo sensor on top and a bulb. Those two things I can change. It does not take an electrician. So I can do that. That's what I'm allowed to do. If it's a more of an electrical problem, if something's gone wrong with the wiring, I can't touch it. So we leave that for our electricians, and they do a great job. It's just we're kind of overwhelmed,
Yeah. So you actually physically got up there and changed the light bulb and the
photo sensor.
The photo sensor.
Yeah. So a lot of times, I'd say 50% of the time, it's one of those two things.
And how many times have you done that?
Oh, I've probably gone up about 70 times and probably fixed 30, 35 of them.
And you're going up again?
Yeah, we go up almost every Friday. One time we went up on a Saturday, but down at City Hall, for your viewers, it's pretty quiet on Fridays, and I learned that after I got elected, and I thought to myself, well, then let's do something. Then on Fridays, let's go out into District 2 and start replacing light bulbs.
Do something constructive and productive.
Yeah. Hey, right. And the citizens love it. Yeah. Oh man, finally somebody's doing something. So.
Yeah, I'll bet when they looked up there, hey, that's our council member up there. What's he doing up there?
Yeah, what's that crazy?
Anyway, we're talking with Steve Brandau. He represents District number 2 here in the city of Fresno, newly elected. Glad to have him in the House. We're back with more of our program in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high-efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Back with Steve Brandau, representing District number 2. And so, okay, let's say Measure G does pass. Okay, it's going to put $2.5 million into it's going to cut into the deficit. Okay, where is the other money going to come from? We have so many financial problems in this city. Like you said, the fire department, then you got the police department. Their contracts are coming up in a year or two. So you've got that to deal with. How do you deal with all these issues? What's going to happen now? I'm assuming, just for the sake of argument, Measure G passes. All right. You've still got a budget deficit. What do you do to fill it?
Well, there's probably, interesting enough, we've made almost all the cuts. Before I got there, Mayor Swearingen, her first 2 years were very aggressive, cut a lot of slack in the budget. So there's not a lot left to cut. Everything we cut now.
More layoffs, do you think, at City Hall?
I don't think there's probably not a lot of room. Now, if Measure G fails, I think that's what you're going to see. So
you're going to see layoffs,
If Measure G fails, now here's what's really interesting, John. If Measure G fails, that's when you will see people lose their jobs, and they won't have a place to go to.
In the sanitation department, will you see them lose their jobs?
I imagine
possibly.
It will be. We need what they go through a big long process, and City Council doesn't get to say this is where the layoffs come from. We just have to say, this department, in your department, you have to lay off, X number of dollars, and then they figure it out. So
I see.
Yeah, that's how that works. So I think if Measure G fails, you're going to see some real, true layoffs, and those people will not have a place to go to. So that's a concern. But I think even with with Measure G, like you said, assume it passes, we still have deficit problems. So we're still going to have to look for places to cut. And then as we approach the different bargaining units with the different labor groups, we're going to have to go in there and be really wise and, make some good agreements that frees up a little bit of money for the city of Fresno.
If Measure G passes, do you know what the deficit will be at that point then with that additional $2.5 million? What will it cut into? And how much will the deficit be at that point? Do you know?
Yeah, it's hard to say. So here's what's funny, and you need to hold my feet to the fire. So once that's $2.5 million comes in, it comes into the general fund, then every decision that gets made at that dais needs to be very wise. We just can't squander that money. So a lot of people want to use that money to service some of the debt that the city's in. So
we don't have exact figures, huh? Because it fluctuates all the time.
It fluctuates all the time. Right.
Yeah.
I keep hearing good things, John, that businesses are starting to grow in the city of Fresno. Of course, we're getting a couple businesses coming into town. We need even more of that. As we see the economy start to turn around, we're hoping that with Measure G, if Measure G passes, the economy can make that turn. We might be okay. But like you said, it goes up and down.
What do you do when you sit across the table from police and fire and try to negotiate? I know you respect both departments. They protect our city. They're very much needed. How do you deal with the police and the fire?
Yeah, I love both departments, and I was with a couple from each group yesterday, but and I've never done that before. So that's going to be a really interesting part of my new job, which is I've never had to sit down and get in that kind of negotiation before.
Yeah.
And so what I'm just going to ask for is fairness. I've got a private company myself. And
carpet cleaning.
I've got a carpet cleaning. You remember? Yeah.
And you're still doing that.
And I still do that.
Yeah.
And when the economy downturned, John, I probably faced a 25% loss in my profit. And a lot of other types of businesses probably lost even more than that.
So do you plan on being tough yet fair with both departments?
That's the way I like to think of it. I feel like we need to be firm and fair. You can't just, you can't blame these guys for everything. It's not their fault the way the economy's moved. But at the same time, at the end of the day, we have to say, we have to take on a lot of things in the city of Fresno, and everybody's going to have to pitch in and give a little bit.
Everybody blames prior city council members and past mayors, or should I say one mayor in particular, that would be Alan Autry, for all the financial woes that we have now. In your opinion, if this current city council and this current mayor were in office 10 years ago, would we have the kind of financial problems we have now? Is this council and mayor more financially responsible, in other words, than the previous?
Oh, gosh. That's really, it's odd because apart from the mayor's there for 4 years and then another 4 years, so potential of 8 years. The city councilmen kind of rotate the way they move. So it's really almost every 2 years something changes. So it's not like a block that stays together for a long time. However, there's been kind of a conservative block, so to speak, there for a little while. And especially with Councilmember Brand has really sat back and done some numbers and brought some things forward. That Sustainability Act, for one thing. Okay, just recently we did a Litigation Management Act that really looks at the numbers and solidifies by policy how that the city council can't vary and go make a bunch of crazy decisions without moving through these.
And that's being more financially responsible.
That is, and so I would like to say, not tackling the mayor for a minute, but I'd like to say for city council, I've got a really good feeling about the city council that we currently have.
That they're financially responsible, more so than in the past, I would say.
Here's what's really been interesting in my new job, John, is people that are politically different than myself have been very helpful. I've had great conversations with them. I see that they care for our city just as much as I do, and I feel good about that.
Steve, sadly, we're out of time. We got to go. The half hour goes by quick.
Yeah, it sure does.
But hey, can you come back again sometime?
I certainly will. I'll be here.
All right. Steve Brandau, council member for District Number 2 for the City of Fresno. June 4th, fast approaching. Yes or a no on G. We're not taking sides. We're back with more of Connect with Me tomorrow. See you then.
come over warning. Nothing could be finer than to be me in Carolina in the morning.
Do you like me?
Just like me.
Like Me TV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.